Coming up on this episode of the Careers Chat.
Generous giving your input because let's face it, our students are well educated, they have masters, they've done lots of research, so on specific topics they really could have a very valid insight.
I follow a podcast where there is a what is the greatest song of all time. Now, my perception of what is the greatest song of all time is not the same as yours.
I'm sure it is.
Hello, Constantina. It's good to see you again.
Hi, Shiv. Very nice to see you. And I'm excited to be recording our next podcast in this wonderful studio on a sunny day in February.
Words you never thought you would say, a sunny day in February.
No, yeah. I think today we are going to talk about LinkedIn and more specifically how to use professionally and effectively the LinkedIn groups that are out there. Are you happy with that?
I am, because it's something that students ask me a lot about, because a lot of them don't realise that the LinkedIn groups are there. They don't know where to search. My recommendation probably would be to use an AI tool like Claude or Perplexity or ChatGPT. Other AI tools are available. But I would use that to do some research on the LinkedIn groups.
Oh, tell me more about it.
What I would do is, once you know the career direction you want to go in, what you would do is you would use AI and say, what are the professional LinkedIn groups or groups that will give me more information about this specific area? And AI will then pop out a long list of AI groups. You do have to specify UK, or if you're looking to work in other countries, specify that, because AI will produce just so much information worldwide and it might not be appropriate. So define what you're looking for, define the location.
So as with every time when we use AI tools, be very, very specific in your prompt so you get a better result. Is it right then to speculate that if I use ChatGPT, and I know the free version is probably data 2022, will this offer me up-to-date LinkedIn groups that are still active? And
it probably won't, because some LinkedIn groups will come and go. So this is the whole point of AI, is using it realistically and being aware that it is slightly outdated. I think Claude's more up to date. It's April 2024. Perplexity, I'm not sure what the timescale is there. And I'm not sure with Gemini, but I think it's much more recent than ChatGPT. But some of these groups will be quite established, so it's still worth trying, and then seeing what groups are out there and deciding if they're the groups for you, so having a look around them.
Okay, so I decide to join a group with investment bankers in the city. Mm-hmm. How do I get on?
You introduce yourself first.
Is it easy to get into a group? Because some of them are obviously you need to do some vetting and check whether you're the right member to join the group. For example, I know within the university there's some closed LinkedIn groups, and we just admit alumni or people from a certain school in that group. Is this the case for general professional networks?
Not so, because for university ones, yes, they have to do some fact checking. There's usually an academic or a support staff member, professional services member who is checking to see, yes, this is one of our graduates, admit. Whereas ownership of the other professional body groups is more sort of linked to your passion and your interest. So, yes, you will apply to join, but usually they're not that difficult. I don't know too many who don't get into the groups that they want. If it's an organisations like Deloitte or KPMG, there might be. So they might ask you to explain why you want to join, but they will be very explicit about that. But most will just be apply to join, bang, you're in. That happens to me when I joined an international student group for professional staff in HE. And literally, ding, and I was in.
But you are, and your LinkedIn profile is clear that you are a professional within the HE sector, and working with international
but it's
students.
How much time someone has to check it. We've all got limited time. And don't forget, you can join a group, but you can also be kicked out of a group if you misbehave. So at the moment, these groups tend to be quite easy to get into. But I would say introduce yourself, specify what you're looking to get from the group. I think that's really important. And then looking what discussions are going on and contributing, not just hiding in the shadows, reading everything, but going, that's an interesting point, but I just wonder if you think this is also valid.
I love that. I love that because I think, yes, you're learning from those groups, you take knowledge, but at the same time, you need to be generous giving your input. Because let's face it, our students are well educated, they have masters, they've done lots of research. So on specific topics, they really could have a very valid insight.
And their dissertation topic as well, the research that they've done, their analytical skills, they could be bringing something refreshing and new to this conversation. And I think that's what a lot of professional people who are in these groups value. I think you've got to move away from this idea of perfection and about having all the answers and accepting you don't have all the answers. Sometimes you have to listen to people who do, but there can be insights you can bring there. And that's important. I think the danger is we join these groups and we kind of think, by osmosis, I will get all of this knowledge. No, you've got to be active. You've got to be proactive. And also you've got to network with some of the people in the group. You will be connected to them once you join the group. All the members of the group can converse with one another. So I think that's an important point, and maybe reach out to another member. Not aggressively, but kind of just saying, well, actually, that point you made was really interesting. I'm doing my dissertation around this area. What do you think? And they can choose to re-engage with that person.
Can I get you on that one? Because obviously to post your initial comment, your insight on a specific topic, you need some confidence. What will be your tips on gaining this confidence to put the first post out there, double check it, for spelling everything, but
do it in Word, check the spelling. I'm dyslexic. I always check what I do before I post things. But that doesn't mean so there aren't typos because I'm dyslexic. But also, fake it till you make it is really good advice. You're not seeing this person. You're not in the same room as this person. The worst thing that's going to happen is they'll ignore the comment. And sometimes they'll ignore the comment because they haven't seen it because they're too busy. I think sometimes you have to take a step back and not take it personally, but have the confidence to say, well, I tried that. It's okay to try things and they don't work. Well, have a look at what you posted. Did you really, sort of get to the point of what you wanted to know? Or was it a little bit woolly and a little bit waffly and nobody really knew what the point you were trying to make? So think about that. But do practice. And don't try and keep self-promotion all the time. Yeah, take a step back. It's not what you're saying, it's what you're hearing, what you're picking up. This is networking. This is building those connections. And you do a lot more by listening than you ever do by talking.
Absolutely.
But it's a balancing act, saying that. Don't sit there in the shadows going, this is interesting, and not contribute. Balance.
How do you feel that your comment is valid?
If you believe it, if you have factually checked it, I think it's valid. I follow a podcast where there is what is the greatest song of all time. Now, my perception of what is the greatest song of all time is not the same as yours.
I'm sure it is.
But move away from that. Talk about, well, actually, this is really important to me. This is what I really enjoy. And reframe it in that way. So, to me, this is the greatest song. To me, this point I think is valid, but I would like to hear what other people think about it.
But I think you also need to evidence why it is valid for you. So you need to provide some context, some explanation. Why do you believe? And then it will be more likely other people will relate with your comment and engage in the conversation. Yeah.
And that's fine.
Good.
But as long as they explain why they disagree, and I think that's an art we've lost with social media, is that for a lot of people, no, you're wrong, you're an idiot. No, I disagree with you because I think this, and this, but I see the point you're making here and I respect it, but I don't quite see it as being valid for me. That's a great interchange. And then I had a conversation with somebody back about 2 years ago on Twitter, and we disagreed about something, but we had a conversation. We weren't screaming at each other. We were saying, well, yeah, but where I live, this is what's happening, and these are the issues that we're facing. Oh, well, you see, now where I'm living, that's completely different, and we don't see those issues, and that isn't a problem. So we were exchanging information and ideas. We didn't agree at the end, but at the end he said, oh, that was a really great conversation. I didn't think I'd get this on Twitter. I said, follow me for more.
Self-promotion here or what?
Well, no, it wasn't just a throwaway thing. It was just kind of like, yeah. And he did follow me. Yeah. And, you know, we popped back up in another conversation that was going on. And he said, well, she doesn't think that. And I think she's got a valid point there, but I think this. So you can still disagree respectfully.
Yeah, no, this is really good. So what about connecting with people? You did refer to that early on, that once you're in a group, you start connecting with the right professionals. And what would be your top tip on establishing this first connection?
So because you can message them directly, explain why you want to connect with them more fully, explain why you joined the group, and just sort of open that dialogue up. And if they've got the time and capacity, yeah. Or they might say, actually, you know, what you're talking about is less about what I'm working in, but let me connect you to one of my colleagues who is working more in that specific field. It's just having the confidence. And like I said, not taking this as a personal rejection. It's not a personal rejection. It's like when people connect to me on LinkedIn and maybe I don't check on LinkedIn because I'm busy at work for a couple of days. And I had one student who reposted their connection request. I've asked to join you and I really want to connect with you. And I just came back and said, yeah, I've connected with you, but bear in mind, I'm busy. You know, I'm doing lots of other different things, not just my work stuff, home life, things like this. So you have to factor this in. People just don't exist online in a kind of stasis waiting for your connection.
Yeah. And another thing that I notice when you start this conversation is that it is better to be very specific how much time you will take this person. I can't quote, but it's in a book that I'm currently reading now, is that people are busy, as you say, they have limited time. So if they engage in conversation, they want to know when this will end.
Yes.
So if you want to invite someone for an online coffee or for actually proper coffee, be very specific. I just need 20 minutes of your time.
Yeah.
And now we notice that more and more people are going for shorter meetings rather than an hour meeting. 45 minutes will be better than an hour. And then you can really focus on main agenda and stick to that and show your professionalism, whether it will be online or in person. But I think it helps everyone, even for me, if someone wants to talk to me and we say, okay, I just need 20 minutes and stick to that.
Yeah. And then you can say, sorry, the 20 minutes is up. I've got another meeting to go to. Yeah. We're all time poor. And so that's an important thing. And for some of the students and graduates listening to this, they might be time rich. Enjoy this now because this won't last. Seriously, you know, do your reading now. Enjoy that time, whereas you can do it now. In the future, you know, there you are watching Matlock on TV, falling asleep on the sofa, and you still think, I've got to do X, Y, Z the next day. So, yeah.
Yeah. Time is precious and
it is.
We should respect it for everyone. So on that note, is there anything else we need to add about the LinkedIn group?
Just get involved. Dip your toe in the water. Don't be frightened to jump in.
And what is your favorite one, Shiv?
Oh, favorite group or favorite
LinkedIn group?
Oh, no, that's nasty.
I am.
I've got to choose. I would say the Midlands International Group.
Oh, they must be your friends. Okay, keep hooray for them then. I'll join them.
Join them. They're a good group.
Okay, and lovely talking to you, and
always
look forward
lovely
to seeing
to talk
you
to
again.
you.
Bye.
Bye.